Hey everyone, Ronnie Landis here, and I'm bringing you the first edition of the Wednesday Q&A. You ask the questions, I provide the answers. And I decided to just provide weekly, consistent videos. Instead of me trying to guess what people want out there on YouTube land, I figured I'd just leave it up to everybody to provide me with the content, and I'll simply answer any question that you guys have. It can be relating to, obviously, health and nutrition, because that's my main format for expressing my message of peak performance and life enhancement. But I'm not afraid to get into any subject, so we could get into all the fringes of health, raw food, nutrition as a whole, lifestyle, design, peak performance strategies, even entrepreneurialism and relationship, spirituality. Anything that you guys have a question about, shoot me the question, I'll provide the answer. So today's Q&A session is actually really special and near and dear to me, because about 5 years ago, when I first was introduced to raw food nutrition and lifestyle, I had a question. I had one question burning, and I needed the answers to it. And I searched far and wide to try to find the answers. And my question was, how do I heal from my knee injury? You see, I had two knee injuries, one on my left knee and one on my right knee. And I had surgery for both these injuries. You know, on my right knee, I had actually torn my MCL, my meniscus. And on my left knee, when I was 23, I had torn my ACL. And I also tore a piece of my cartilage. So I had very minimal reconstructive surgery on my left knee. And I've learned a lot since that time. And so what I want to provide to you guys is how anybody that has, either you've had knee surgery, you've had, maybe you've had a cadaver put in, you've had little scar tissue snipped away from your knee. I mean, the knee surgeries that they have available now are pretty phenomenal compared to what was available 10, 20, 30 years ago, where they had to actually slice open your entire knee and rip the skin open and put in a whole knee replacement. I mean, it's kind of gruesome, but what's available now is phenomenal. And in order to heal your knee, in any kind of joint compartment in your body, there's certain principles that need to be abided by in order to have a successful track record of healing afterwards. And there's a lot of different principles, so I can't get into everything that I want to get into. If you guys have a question about it, I'll answer it on a future video, so there you go. I'm going to provide 5 basic attributes for how to heal your knee and to get back into whatever your activity is, whether it's a specific sport, it's a type of activity, or you just want to completely alleviate knee and joint pain altogether. Here's my 5-prong recipe for doing that. The first thing, nutritionally speaking, is getting into MSM. And that's a dietary supplement called methylsulfonylmethane. And this is one of my favorite supplements in the world. This is an oxidized form of DMSO. And that's a very pertinent and well-researched detoxification sulfur compound. MSM is actually basically sulfur. And that sulfur goes into rebuild and reconstruct different places of your body, specifically your cartilage, your joints, your bone structure, and also it starts to break down scar tissue, so calcification or calcium-forming organisms that literally embed themselves into the crevices of our joints actually start to cause a debilitation of our bones and our joints over time. MSM starts to break those things down. MSM saved my knees when I first got into raw foods. That's the first thing. The second thing is high vitamin C plant powders. Vitamin C is probably, over the whole cornucopia of antioxidant components in foods, I would say vitamin C is probably the most important and has the most wider range of functions in the human body, physiologically speaking. One, it clears out the blood. It's the #1 thing for anti-atherosclerotic effects on clearing out the blood platelets that cause kind of a fusion and kind of thicken up our blood and cause blood clottages. And the other thing is it starts to knit back our torn cartilage. Vitamin C is highly effective at repairing torn cartilage and ligament. You know, when we tear a ligament, when we're exercising all the time, we're oxidizing our muscle tissue, we're oxidizing our ligaments and our fine, the joint structures, right, and the tendons. So vitamin C can be very effective at repairing those areas of the body and ultimately causing an antioxidation effect and putting out the inflammatory fire that happens in our body at the cellular level. The third thing I'd recommend would be doing green vegetable juice. Now, when I first got into raw food, I had spent about 7 years trying to rehabilitate my knee, doing all kinds of things. And as effective as they were, I was missing the dietary component. And green vegetable juice within 30 days actually completely wiped away my inflammation. And I had to ice my knees, twice a day from exercise. After that 30-day period, my knees were completely healed, and I never had to ice my knees again. 5 years later, never had to ice my knees again. I can work out, I can run, I can play basketball, I can do heavy weight, anabolic weightlifting training, squats. Never even have to think about ice. Green vegetable juice is one of the best anti-inflammatory mechanisms that we can start to saturate our body with, and it's going to start to create more of a levity. It's going to start to create more of a higher creative thought forms. It's going to start to reduce the inflammatory pressure that's happening at the cellular level in our body, similar to the vitamin C component. I would actually suggest infusing your green vegetable juice with your vitamin C plant powders, with your camu berry, with your acerola cherry, with your rose hips, with your amla berry, these kind of things, your cockadoo berry. And also, the juice I'd recommend would be, let's start off with a cucumber, celery, ginger, turmeric, apple juice. Something as simple as that. And doing that every single day, maybe 16 ounces a day of green vegetable juice will change your life. And you know how they say an apple a day will keep the doctor away? Well, I think 16 ounces of green vegetable juice a day will keep the doctor away indefinitely. So that's the third strategy. The fourth strategy is actually reconstructive or rehabilitation exercises. This is very key, and we can't forget about this principle, is that even though we're doing the high vibe nutrition, we have to put our body into use. So in order to repair that torn tissue or the torn cartilage, whatever the case may be, we have to start to strengthen all the micro muscles and tendons that surround the patella tendon and the patella of our knee. The kneecap. We actually have to protect and fortify it with the muscles inside. So this is going to be something that you can do with a competent physical therapist, with somebody maybe at the gym or a personal trainer that really knows rehabilitation exercises. And I'm talking about very simple exercises to get back into the game. Stuff that strengthens your hamstrings, your quads, obviously, the muscles surrounding the kneecap, as well as your ankles, and strengthening your feet and lower back. All these different components play into that matrix. And the fifth thing I want to recommend is actually functional swimming exercises. Believe it or not, one of the things that really made a triumphant change in my rehabilitation was getting off the treadmill and getting into the pool. And doing pool exercises by swimming back and forth, by doing sprinting back and forth, high knees back and forth, all different kinds of exercises in the pool with the resistance of the water, with no impact, made huge strides in my healing process and actually strengthened different areas of my body that I didn't even know I had before, but it made a huge difference. So those are the 5 things to recap. Would be MSM, methylsulfonyl methane, as a supplement. I would do 1 to 2 tablespoons 2 to 3 times a day. minimum. If you're recovering from an injury, high vitamin C plant powders like Camu Camu, Amlaberry, Acerola Cherry, Rose Hips, and then I would do green vegetable juice. Again, the one that I recommended, I believe, was cucumber, celery, ginger, turmeric, apple. You could throw beetroot in there, and then doing functional rehabilitation exercises. I want to add on to that your IT band that rests at the side of your leg, the side of your thigh. Actually, it's a long muscle that leads to a lot of instabilities when it comes to the knee and the lower back. So you want to actually get a foam roller and start to rub out that IT band. And I guarantee if you have knee pain and you have a stiff IT band, your knee pain will start to dissipate upon using the foam roller. So I'm going to add that in there. And then also doing functional swimming. Those are my 5 principles. Please, if this helps out in any way, if you have more questions about this, leave that question below. Again, this was Wednesday's Q&A session. Tell me what you think about this, and all your questions, like I said, leave them below, and every Wednesday I'll shoot you the answer. All right, until next time, take care. Peace.